What we're going to look at the moment is this thing called shared wisdom. And in getting ready to talk about the topic, I actually went back to the Mary Bennett McKinney book of Shared Wisdom. Now, it's quite old and it's out of print, but there's an excellent section in there that talks to us in chapter 5 about shared wisdom and what it means. Even though the book is probably 20 years old, it is as relevant to boards today as it was 20 years ago. And she very clearly says there's 3 simple steps to shared wisdom: gathering the data, reflecting prayerfully on the data, and then sharing the wisdom. So when a board is faced with making a decision, we all know we never vote on a board. Once we vote, we have a winner, we have a loser. If we can discern a way forward, hopefully it's at the point where everyone can say, we can live with this decision at this point in time. It's the best decision we can make for the school and therefore the students. So in talking about the data, let's suppose you are looking at a policy to do with school uniform. People need to get the professionals together to talk about the data, or to talk about the policy or the protocol that's going to be discussed. The rule of thumb in any decision-making process is to consult, but primarily consult with the experts in that area. So you may, by sheer luck, have on your parent body or on your staff someone who comes with a design background. Logically, you would go to that person and start to involve them in the process, whether it be a subcommittee. It may be you go to an outside source to help advise you on types of materials, sun safety factors, whatever else. But it's essential before you even travel the journey to consult and gather data. The next part is reflecting on the data. So once you've got all these ideas for the decision you're about to make, you've got all this information, you then need to sift through it and work out, well, what are we going to do with it? How relevant is it to us? What are the insights? So everyone in the group needs to be able to share what their view was. What did they get from reading that sheet of information? What did they learn? What did they hear? What have they heard around from other groups? So for example, if you were doing something like uniform, you would have gone to the P&F. So someone on the board has gone there and listened to the P&F talk about, this is what we like, this is what we didn't like, this is what works well with our current uniform, this is not what works well. So that person then is coming back and sharing more information. Other people are hearing fresh information there, and then discussion has to occur on, this is what we're hearing, this is where we're going, and this is what we need to continue to do. Once that's done, we then move into what is called the sharing the wisdom stage. At times, the thing you have to do is look at the negatives first. Look at, instead of doing the PIM process, positive, interesting, minus, start with the minus first, which is not what we generally tend to do. But once you do that, you clear the decks for any misinformation, misconceptions, and a whole range of other things that may be clouding the issue for a person. So John, for example, might decide that he really wants the uniform to be both school day uniform and sports uniform. And he has his list of reasons for that. We then would sit down and say, well, what are the minuses about doing that? What's going to make it difficult for us to achieve consensus in doing that? Once that's happened, you can then move to what's the positives? What's the way forward? In doing this, the critical thing is the honesty of the group. So the board has to be able to be comfortable to share exactly what they think and feel, to know that they can do it in an environment where they are not going to be criticised, but the questions are done in a supportive way to come about achieving an outcome. And of course the other thing is the confidentiality of the board, that what happens in the board and in that room stays in that room, and any discussions that take place outside it are discussions that have been authorised by the board for a person to go and talk to someone, to whether go off to a uniform manufacturer, for example, and start getting some thoughts together. Or they've been asked to go to the board and talk to the board. Or the person who's the staff member on the board goes back to the staff and starts to talk to them. But they need to do it in an environment that is totally open, honest and confidential, where people can share exactly what they think. When it then comes time to the decision, as I said, the decision is one of consensus. Is this the best we can do at this point in time with the information we have and the resources we have? The answer, if it's yes, you've reached consensus. Don't try and do, is this the best we can do? You always have to put the qualifier at this point in time with the knowledge we have and the resources we have to be part of the process.